Hello and welcome to Just Like Me. I'm here today with Lucille. Lucille lives in my old stomping ground in Toronto, Ontario, and we share a lot of things in common, actually. She also trained as a Phoenix Rising yoga therapist, so we have that in common as well. And so I'm looking forward to interviewing her today. So welcome, Lucille, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Melissa. My pleasure.
And it looks like today is going to be an audio interview, so this will be something nice for you guys. Can put it on your iPods or your phones and listen to it on your way to and from work, or while you're doing other things in your home as well, so you don't have to be chained to your computers while you do this one. So a little bit different. But we usually start this interview by asking you how you came to yoga. How did you first start practicing yoga?
Well, I started practicing yoga when I was around 28 years old. At that time, I was married and I had two little girls who were 4 and 5. Hadn't had my son yet. And it came about quite interestingly. I was living in Toronto then as well, and my mom, who lives in Cape Breton, had visited me, and she started doing yoga one evening before going to bed. She was visiting for about a month, and I was quite curious about what she was doing. And when she went into tree pose, and she looked so serene, and she had her eyes closed, and she was really well balanced, and I just thought, wow, I don't think I could do that. And she told me a little bit about it, and I had a lot of questions. And after she left, this was way back in the 70s, I went to the library to look for a book on yoga, and I couldn't even find a book on yoga. But what I did find was a record, like a long playing record before videos. So I took the record home, and I listened to it, and it was a man's voice. Mm-hmm. And I thought, well, I'll just listen to it, and I was listening to it while washing dishes, actually. But the sound of his voice was so inviting and so calming that I remember I grabbed my tea towel, wiped my hands, and laid right down on the floor in my kitchen and started to follow along. So that's how I got started. And, after 3 weeks, I went back to the library and I said, can I renew this? And I just kept renewing it and renewing it. So eventually I did find the book.
That's
so, there's a lot more available now these days. You couldn't
true.
even buy a yoga mat in Toronto way back in the 70s.
Yeah,
that's
true.
Order it through Yoga Journal.
Yeah, that's
so that's how I got started.
Of the commercialism of yoga, isn't it?
And then I found a yoga class probably about 5 years after that in the community center, and it was a Kundalini yoga class, and I did like it. And then I discovered Lilia Spolin had a free half-hour program early in the morning, so I started to follow that and did it, early in the morning before going to work for many, many years.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's it, and I did my yoga training later on still. I started in Toronto, and I was a little put off by the woman who was teaching it. I didn't like her style, so I ended up quitting in the middle and going to Kripalu and finishing there.
Mm-hmm.
And then years after that, probably 10 years after that, I did the Phoenix Rising. So it's been a long while. And,
is that how you met Michael at Kripalu then?
Yeah.
So Michael is the
Michael
founder
Lee.
of Phoenix Rising Yoga Therapy,
Yeah.
and he lived at Kripalu probably when you were there. Yeah,
one of the ladies who was teaching us there has since passed away quite a few years ago. I'm trying to remember her name, but it escapes me right now. But while the first two series of the training, they came down to Ancaster, Ontario, and did here. Mm-hmm. And then the third one actually had to the U.S. to finish it and to do the graduation. Mm-hmm. And so I made really great friends through that, and hooked up with a few people from Toronto who were also doing the training. We just kind of figured out we could drive up there together and drive back. So it was fun.
Yeah. And so how did you find Namaste Yoga? Because this is a lot of years later.
Yeah, many, many years later. I found that over the years, for a long time I was working downtown at Yonge and Bloor, and there was a really great bookshop there on Yorkville Avenue that I used to go to and pick up all kinds of yoga books and tapes and CDs and things. And I found that I would do that on my lunch hour because I couldn't seem to get enough time in my life to do enough yoga, like to satisfy me. It was, 20 minutes here or there, because by that time I was divorced and single parent, working full time and teaching some of the time. And then when I got laid off from my job, which was 2013, many, many years later, I went online to see what I could find, because I really couldn't afford to go and do anybody else's classes. Mm-hmm. And, as a yoga teacher, it's so nice to have a teacher. Mm-hmm. And I went online, and you were the one that made the most sense to me. And I think it's because of your Phoenix Rising and your style of teaching. And I thought, oh, wow, she's kind of like me. And I liked that because I found everything else that was online was really, really quick and more athletic than yogic.
Yeah, yeah.
So I just followed along with Namaste Yoga, and I was always so curious what it would be like to join the community, and kept putting it off until I just couldn't put it off anymore and bit the bullet. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. So, you've been a member probably almost for a year now. Would that be right? Maybe a year?
I think it was around October.
Oh, okay, so about 6 months.
And initially it was like, oh my God, there's so much. Now I have too much stuff. But because I'm very lucky that, I'm 63, nobody wants to hire me for a full-time job. So it gives me lots of time to do yoga. And finally, I have the amount of yoga that I want to do, as much or as little. And in your own space, there's just nothing like it. Mm-hmm. It's so good.
And I feel like I don't know, I'm curious about how you approach it, because I feel like maybe, this is my guess, is that you're quite methodical about how you approach it, because when I respond to your posts, it feels like you spread yourself out all over the membership site in terms of the classes you're doing. So I'm curious how you decide what classes to do.
Well, here's how my day goes. I love the tapping. Mm-hmm. And so first thing in the morning, usually around 5:30, I wake up, and I do it in bed. Like I get up, I go to the washroom, I come back to bed, mm-hmm. I do my tapping, and then I flow right from there, still in bed, into the large intestine meridian every morning. Mm-hmm. And then I get up and I do my routine, my breakfast, and make the bed, and just kind of organize my day, check for appointments and whatever. And then I do the meditation. By then it's usually 9 o'clock or 9:30. And I usually follow the meditation with whatever is the weekly challenge for that day. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So that's my morning yoga. Mm-hmm. And then I will come back in the afternoon, usually around 3:30 or 4. And I'll do one Namaste Yoga class and another class. So usually a good 2 hours, 3:30 to 5:30 or 4 to 6 or whatever. And I may come back and do the bedtime routine if I haven't eaten dinner too late, mm-hmm. because I guess because I get up so early in the morning, I'm not a good sleeper. Mm-hmm. I find 9 o'clock, 9:30 is my limit, and I crash. But I guess I am methodical about it, because I'm just all over the place with it. It's whatever. And then I'll also add, the middle of the day is kind of like when I do the rest of my life, and I really love cooking, and I find that I tend to get a bit achy in my back after standing at the counter and chopping or whatever it is that I'm doing in the kitchen. So I discovered those Take 5 videos.
Oh,
So
yeah,
in the middle of chopping up whatever I'm doing, I'll just stop and take 5. I'll just go and do one of those. And it just gives me my energy back, and that ache goes away, and I can come back to my chores or whatever. But it took me a long time to find those. I don't know where they were hiding, but once I discovered them, I thought, I'm going to do one of these, once in a while.
Yeah.
Even just, I love the legs up the wall quickie. That takes away the achy back right away.
Yeah. That's a lot of yoga in one day. And
it's a lot of yoga. I can't seem to get enough. It's like I'm addicted to yoga. And it's a very healthy addiction. So there's a lot of addiction in my family. So this is my addiction of choice.
Yeah. And I think it's also, it speaks to different stages in life too. How
that's right.
Yeah, in your Vata stage in life, you get to choose how you spend your time a lot more.
That's right. And I find I never want to say no to yoga, but there's a lot of other things that come up that I have no trouble saying no to. So I know that this is my time to be doing it. I remember when I was in my 40s, I really resented that I didn't have enough time. And, that was when I had 3 teenagers at that time. And it was really, I could have really benefited from it, like emotionally. And the time just wasn't there. But now it is. And I do think a lot of people that I know who aren't into yoga, they think of me as very strange because of the amount of yoga that I do. And my teaching is not very much these days. I have my own Saturday morning class that I teach. That's the only one. But I sometimes substitute for a few other yoga teachers, so sometimes I might be teaching 3 or 4 times a week. But that's so easily doable when you don't have a regular 9-to-5 job. It's like playing for me. So yeah, it's really a beneficial practice. I love it. And I think as I get older, I'm more into the spirituality aspect of it rather than the physical benefits, because the physical benefits are cumulative over the years, and I think we just kind of flow through our practice without realizing the good that it continues to do us. But even just in terms of energy, to have really good energy, I attribute that to my yoga.
Yeah. I think what really stands out to me, and this is what I really love about our community, is that listening to you, I feel like you can be a beacon of hope to the women in their 40s, right, who are still in the pitta stage of life, that are still raising their children, still having a career, still responsible for earning an income for their family, to know that there will be a stage in their life where there will be more time to do things like their yoga, when they will be done raising their children, and they will have more time to do what they want, and they will be more rested, and they will be less exhausted and less burnt out,
I remember in 1997 or 98, I think I went to the World Yoga Conference in San Francisco, and I met my favorite yoga teacher, Lilias Folan. And she had a very, very early meditation class, 5 a.m., and we did it outdoors. And I got there, I think, at 4:30. I was really, really early. I was so excited to see her, and so we had a little chat. She was there early as well, and I told her how crazy my life was and so busy, and then, I'd had to beg, borrow, and steal to get away for this conference. And she said to me, "This too will pass." And I just kept that thinking, okay, I'll believe her, because I really, really think she's a smart lady. And yeah, it does. It comes to pass. And then there's things that you regret and wish you could get back, but that's life. Life goes forward, not backwards. And when you're in your 40s and you're not quite sure when menopause is going to hit, and you can be perimenopausal, and everything affects everything that you do. So it's a lot on your plate if you're raising a family.
It is,
and working and then all the stuff at home as well. It's a lot.
It is, yeah. So I think this is why I think these interviews are so great too, to hear the perspectives of different women, and we will interview men too, but at different stages of their life, because I think for one, it allows people to hear that they're not alone, and that's why we call them Just Like Me too, because it's like, oh wow, other people are going through things just like me, but then also to hear that this too will pass, that they're, the stage of life will pass, and there is another stage of life to be entered into.
I think as a rule, women are very, very supportive of each other. But in yoga, you get that extra support there as well. Because people who do yoga are very kind, don't you find? I think we have very big hearts. So there's a lot for being able to lean on your women friends.
So you told us about your day and the kind of videos that you practice and where we find you in the membership community. Do you have some favorite videos?
I really like everything that you have in the Insomnia series, because I use that a lot. So I go there probably, I would say, 4 times a month. Because there's so much other stuff. And in my journal, I keep writing my favorites and going back to do them. And
do you find that the insomnia coincides with the moon? Because we have our moon section. Does it coincide with the full moon for you?
I was surprised to see that it does, because I went out and bought a separate calendar, and I keep it in my book basket near my bed, and every morning I write down how I slept, and then I'm comparing it to what it was like last month, and it's pretty predictable.
Yeah. I have a terrible time sleeping around that full moon. Yeah.
And like the breath practices in that series, like when I wake up, I'll do, the 3-part breath or the moon breathing. And it does seem to lull me back in that direction. It takes a while, but it stops me from thinking, because I have this very active mind that just does not want to shut up and let me be. That's part of being in that Vata stage of life, and that Vata mind that just likes to go. And also that full moon stage would be very Vata time as well. And the reason why I like those breath practices for the full moon is that when you wake up in the middle of the night, the last thing, your mind convinces you that, I'm going to fall back asleep. I don't want to get up and do a breath practice. But those breath practices you can do while you're lying down still. That's right. Yeah.
And you can, once you learn them, you can just have them in your tool belt and know how to do them when you wake up. And if you're a good enough frame of mind, you can remember to do them, and they do help you get back to sleep.
I'll bring my knees into my chest, and I'll press into my inner ankle and outer ankle acupressure points, and for when is sweet sleep and when is peaceful sleep. And I do that press in knees to chest, thinking, okay, this can't hurt. This might help it along as well. So every little thing, eventually you hopefully find something that's going to work. But my insomnia is just so annoying. It's an annoyance. The good thing is that I don't have to get up early in the morning and rush off to work like I used to. So, that makes a difference. That was really, really tough to have insomnia in my 40s and in my 50s when I was going through menopause. I survived on so little sleep. I'm surprised I'm still alive.
That's really tough. Yeah.
But that's a really good series. I like the series that, like right now, I just love redoing the chakra series and the Bhava series, and I just think they're wonderful. What are the other ones? The koshas. I love the kosha series.
Those were some of the original series in the membership community, some of the first shorter series that we made for the community. I just did the root chakra one this morning for the weekly challenge. Yeah. And it was funny because I hadn't done that one in so long, and I was, it's like going on an East. I love that this morning too. And I in my head, if you'd asked me, I would have said, I don't like that pose. But today I liked it.
It's funny, eh? Sometimes you get what you need.
Yeah. And I found doing that class this morning, I felt like going on an Easter egg hunt because I had forgotten a lot of what was in that class.
Oh.
But yeah.
And I check in with Ivy's devotionals too. I love that because that's all the spiritual side of things, and that's a good place to go to.
Yeah, that's a great section. That's in the daily section. And actually, Tim and I just made some changes to that section yesterday to make it easier to navigate so that her videos are in one section. And then the thread where you can ask for support or dedicate your practice to others is at the top now. So I think that will be a lot easier to find your way around that section. So that's good.
I think the more you use it, the easier it is to find your way around.
That's true too.
I was afraid to go all over the place when I started. I thought I was going to break my computer. I'm not a very techie person. And I thought, oh my goodness, do I dare go here? What if it blows up?
So how did you get over that? Because
just by doing it. And I would ask my landlord upstairs, I would say, if I'd broken my computer, he'd say, no, you just need to restart it. And, now I'm just all over the place. And I think it's just my age, because even though I used a computer at work, it was a very limited program that I worked with. I worked as a receptionist. And so, it's kind of challenging at first, but you get used to it. And I think also I wanted to mention that there's so much in the Namaste Yoga episodes. And that's why I've started to do one of those every afternoon, because they are amazing. They're just amazing classes. I just can't believe that you do all that for free.
And how are you working through those? Are you
yesterday
going chronologically,
I started,
or?
No, I just kind of go at the beginning and work my way through. I'm doing the Durga series right now.
Yeah, nice. That was a nice series. I worked really closely with Rashmi with that one. It was a really special series. Wait till you see how that one ends. It's like pretty incredible.
Yeah.
Like Durga herself pretty much shows up through the force of nature.
And I get hung on classes that I love, and I think I want to do it again tomorrow. But then the next day I think, no, I better do another one, because I could get stuck doing the same one over and over because it's so good.
You could actually now, because of how many there are, start at the beginning, do one a day, and over the course of the year, there will be 365 classes now to do in a year now, because of the rate of classes we're releasing. Because we will hit 365 by the end of this year is what I'm saying.
And then all the brain yoga stuff, I have to work that in as well. So, yeah, it's a good thing. A whole bunch of hours in the day.
Yeah. The exciting thing about the brain yoga is, you guys haven't seen this yet, but I just interviewed Tim Anderson, I think. His last name has escaped me, from Original Strength. And I approached him about interviewing him, and then we got along really well. And he does a bunch of brain yoga stuff more in the field of strength training. But we got along so well that we've decided to do more collaborations. And so we're going to be doing a series of videos together. He's already putting a series of videos together for me, and then I'm going to do a series of videos for him. So you'll be seeing more of that. So for those of you who like brain yoga,
I love that idea. Yeah. I have a concern about 20 years down the road maybe being plagued with dementia, because my mom's going down that road and her mother went down that road, and I'm thinking maybe this can put it off.
Yeah. Well, Tim told us some amazing stories when he came on the interview, which I think I won't be spoiling because his interview will come out before your interview, but he told us some stories of women in their 80s that come into his place or his trainer's place in that can't walk without the assistance of a walker and their husbands. And by the time they leave doing simple crossover patterns, they can walk without their walkers and without
amazing.
their husbands. Yeah. So it's not necessary to have this level of decline in our physical and mental health. It's just not. And there are simple things that we can do to stay sharp and alert. And, you're doing the tapping routine every day. So
it's wonderful.
You're good.
I really believe that class is the reason that I have not had any flu or any cold symptoms like over the whole winter. And I normally get sick between Christmas and New Year's. This year, nothing.
Interesting.
So I attribute it to that. And one of my chair yoga class, my students in that class are pretty much all over 90. And they're very vulnerable. They don't want to get up out of the chair to do any standing poses. But I got them to do the crossover pattern.
Yes.
Of you pretending that the tip of your nose is a chalk and designing a sideways figure 8 very, very slowly.
Yes.
I do 5 in one direction and 5 in the other direction. And they're asking for more of that.
Nice.
And they're noticing that even their neck, they're more limber in their neck. So and that, affects their spine and everything. So I'm really glad that they like that.
You're really going to like my interview with Tim.
Oh, I can't wait. When is that going to come?
It's maybe next Wednesday.
Yeah.
And so you're getting them to do some head nods, which is really great for their balance, their vestibular system. Even if you could get them doing more crossover patterns, like just touching their opposite hand to their opposite leg, that would be huge for them.
I get them to bend their arms and bring elbow to opposite knee type of thing. Yeah. And chair twists. And, and lots of pranayama. And their favorite pranayama is Brahmari hum. They're all buzzing around like bees.
That's hilarious. Yeah.
So they're becoming more playful.
Even I think in yoga, there's so many crossover patterns built in that we don't even think about it. Like if you think about alternate nostril breathing, right? That's a crossover pattern.
Yeah. And all of the twist poses. Like my favorite pose of all time has always been supine twist. Yeah. It just feels like my twin.
Yeah. Such a great pose.
I love that. Just love it.
Yeah. Yeah. So, let me ask you, where can we find you when you're not practicing yoga?
Well, my grandchildren are getting older now, so I'm seeing less of them this year, and it's given me more time to do things that I enjoy. And I love to sing, so I joined a choir recently. Nice. So I'm at choir practice every Thursday afternoon. I have a really close friend that I spend all of my Tuesdays with, and we'll either walk the beach, or if the weather's no good, we'll go to a movie and for dinner. Nice. And other than that, just being in nature and cooking. I love to cook and fill my freezer with soups. Nice. And just reading. I love to read. And there's a new little thing in our community where I live. I'm probably all over Toronto these days. They're called little birdhouse libraries. Have you heard about that?
I think so. Yeah, go ahead. Tell us
And
about
they're
it.
so cute. I didn't know what they were for a long time. I used to think, oh, people have built birdhouses. I guess they're feeding the
Right. Oh,
birds.
yeah. Yeah, they're all
But
over
you can
Victoria. Yeah.
just pick up books there that people have finished reading and put your own books there that you want to get rid of.
Hmm.
So I tend to go for long walks and pick up a few books on the way home. I also love to dance. I try to get out dancing at least once a month.
Nice.
Hiking is great fun, and even though I'm not a member of the Bruce Trail, I have a friend who's a member, and I get taken for hikes quite a bit.
Nice. Very nice. And you live in Toronto, and you live right in Toronto. So tell people what that's
Yeah.
like living in Toronto.
Well, I live on the Danforth, which is a Greek community, and many restaurants around here, although I don't go there very often anymore. They're quite expensive.
Mm-hmm.
I find living in Toronto is really expensive.
Yeah.
But I live in a basement apartment in a little bungalow, and the people who live upstairs own the house, and they're like a second family to me.
Oh, nice.
So my landlady, Lori, her mom and I went to high school together. So that's how we found each other,
Oh, wow.
through my friend Shelley. And I get invited up there for Thanksgiving dinner. You know, I share my recipes with her, and she shares hers with me. She's more like a daughter to me than my real daughters are.
Nice.
I'm pretty close. I walk. It's, easy to walk community. I walk everywhere. I take transit very, very seldom. So that saves a little bit of money because my income's very low. And I also belong to a recovery community and spend a lot of time volunteering with new people coming into the program.
Nice. Yeah.
And that's about it.
Yeah, the part of Toronto that you live in, it's a really nice part. It's grown a lot over the last 10 years for sure. But it's not like right in the city center. It's just enough outside of it, and yet you can walk down to the water and down
I
to
can
Lake
walk
Ontario.
to the lake
Mm-hmm.
in about an hour, and it's great walking along the shoreline. And it's a little windy down there today. So when I watch your older Namaste yoga classes where you're on the lake,
Yeah.
So where was that? Was that along the beaches, or were you actually living in Ajax?
We were living in Ajax, yeah.
You were.
So
okay.
Ajax was, it was an incredible city. The town of Ajax actually purchased all the land on the waterfront. When we first moved into Ajax, 10 years before leaving Ajax, they were still in the process of purchasing a lot of the original cottages and homes along the waterfront so that the city owned the entire waterfront. And that's quite different from the west end of Toronto, where it's quite a lot privately owned. Like even here in Victoria, the waterfront is very much privately owned in a lot of places. And so the beautiful thing about Ajax was it was all publicly owned along the waterfront, and so you could go down anytime and enjoy the water. Anybody could enjoy the waterfront because it was all public access, which was lovely.
Yeah, you're very lucky that you're able to find all these beautiful places to film in, and those ones along Lake Ontario. Like, it was very seldom that you saw people in the background, or like it just seemed like you were in your own little heaven.
Yeah, and I think that's because there was so much public space. I mean, as I say, they own the entire
spread out.
They own the entire waterfront. And if we saw if we saw the city workers mowing the lawn in one place, we would just move down the waterfront. I love
that, because you say that in your videos.
Yeah.
We've gone home, had lunch, had a nap, and now we're back. So cute.
Yeah. And, it's not dissimilar to here, where there is still a lot of waterfront. It's cooler here on the water. It's
and
the
those
ocean.
mountains.
Yeah.
Oh, it's just so gorgeous.
Yeah. So here, there's so much parkland that we'll just, we'll never run out of places to film. We just have to move around more to find space that isn't where there aren't people using power tools and such, Yeah, that's all.
It's very nice.
Yeah, it's a beautiful place to live and to film. We're very lucky, and I think you guys enjoy it too.
Well, we're getting to see it through the blogs, so it kind of feels like being there.
Yeah.
Really, really interesting to watch your blogs.
We really enjoy filming those as well. Yeah. So is there anything else you'd like people to know or you'd like to share with us before we wrap up here, Lucille?
I think I'm good.
Yeah? Okay.
Yeah, I think I'm good.
Well, I really thank you for coming on and letting us know how you found yoga, how you came to the membership community, talking to us about some of your favorite places and what it's like to live in Toronto. And it's really nice for our members to get to know you a little bit more. Yeah,
I'm glad that we're able to have friends all over the world without going anywhere.
Yeah.
And it seems that no matter who you get to know on the website, we're pretty much all the same, whether we're in Wales or in England or in Canada.
Yeah, I think that's true. And as I said before, that's why I really love doing these interviews. Even though you might feel really isolated, I think we're more the same than different.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you. It was great chatting with you, Melissa.
Okay.
Take care.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.